What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Nerds on the Block. Today we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League film that just dropped on Thursday, and I watched it a few times, still in disbelief of what I witnessed. We're going to talk about our impressions and what we thought about the film. More on that next. All right, so I just want to open up this review with saying, I can't believe we almost never got this film. Like, are you kidding me, Warner Brothers? Like, what?
I don't know.
What world?
I don't know.
What?
Why does it take the whole world to campaign for one movie just for a movie to get done right?
I just wonder how many other films suffer
Like,
from
why does
this
it take, why does it have to get to that point where people have to campaign
and beg? Like,
for something to be done right?
Like, I know
don't
timetables play a part. I know they're like, we want this film to come out in 2017, but that should have been delayed, man. I'm sorry. Like, there's no excuse for that.
And I don't care what
you should have
anybody
been
says.
waiting.
4 hours was more than enough time, and it was like, if you can sit through Avatar, if you can sit through Lord of the Rings, if you can sit through Titanic, kiss my ass.
Yeah,
4 hours is fine.
Split up in parts, actually. So, like, even if you wanted to watch 1 to 3 parts and then maybe 4, 5,
Nobody's
6,
telling
whatever,
you.
that's on you.
Because I think so many people are like, oh, it's too long. How is it too long? Like,
no.
Pause it. If you don't want to finish it, pause it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It's
You're
that
not in the
simple.
theater because like people complain about how it's too long. It was as long as it needed to be.
And honestly, the pacing doesn't even equate to it actually being 4 hours, even though that's the official runtime.
It didn't feel like
But
4
the film
hours at all.
Feels like 2.5 hours. Like,
when I'm looking forward to something as ambitious as Justice League, I want all the time I can get inside that world. As long as the pacing and the writing is fine, I'll stay there all day.
Yeah.
I'll book a whole movie theater to myself if that's what it takes to be stuck in that world for that. Like 4 hours wasn't enough. When I saw that epilogue, I was actually sad. It was bittersweet.
You were like, it is coming to a close now. Yeah, I felt that same way. Like, I know from the initial, like, even like when you get to the prologue and like part 1, you're just thinking to yourself, you're like, what a different film. What a different film. Like, already, like,
at the gate,
Whedon's Justice League, it's like, Batman's already fighting parademons to start. It's like, wait, where did parademons
and I was like,
come from?
I was like, that doesn't even, like...
What's going on
Like,
here?
okay, how did he know about the parademon? And he's like, oh, what does he say? He's like, oh, it's a scout. Oh, it's probably some kind of sign or whatever. And I'm like,
no.
Okay, thanks for the context as to how the hell he even knows that.
Yeah. Even like his nightmare sequences, sure, he had that in Batman versus Superman.
But that's not enough.
Still, but it's
that's
not
enough.
It's still the element of like it's happening right now versus I'm having a premonition or whatever. It's like he seemed too ready in the Whedon version.
None of the scenes
and then you see
in the Whedon version had any context, or at least not enough as to why why are these scenes happening? Why does this make sense to happen right now? How does this character know this? Why would this character do that? Like,
It's also the janky humor, man.
To have a joke, it's not an Avengers movie. I get it. It works in that because it's established there.
Yeah.
You don't have to bring that over to Justice League.
Yeah, no,
it's not necessary.
Like, why do you need to copy the competition? Like, just make them do their formula, let them do their own thing. But even Batman, he has funny moments, but they're genuine. Like, it's not like
genuine Batman
coming
movies.
off.
Even in the animation, when you watch the animation and he emotes or he says certain things, it's funny because it's Batman. It's not funny because, it would be funny if Batman did. It's not Robot Chicken. It's not Family Guy. Don't do that.
And to go back into like Zack Snyder's Justice League, Whedon version, it's in the garbage. We forget about it now. Like part 2, setting up the world in like the universe.
Just continuing from BVS straight into Justice League made a lot more sense.
Way more sense. It's like, okay, like you're starting about like Superman, like that screech going across the city and the bay into Metropolis, and you're seeing that, and you're like, wait, that is what Lex was referencing. Like the bells have been rung. It's like now the world, like Earth has literally announced Superman's dead, so we can come reach. Even the backstory on Darkseid, like having him lose,
and they showed a lot,
unexpected.
A lot of, because I was worried. I was like, are they gonna hype Darkseid and we're gonna get like maybe like 2 scenes? Thankfully, we had enough scenes where we could see Darkseid, see him in action, like the Omega beams. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
I can't believe that happened on screen.
Just the little things that they did to make this guy stand out, and he stood out with a purpose. He would take down the Atlanteans, stab a guy, Omega Beam this guy.
Yeah.
The one scene where he's, trying to find out where the anti-life equation. The only thing I didn't really understand that I bumped on was like, how did they forget that it was like on Earth? That's the only thing that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
But I think it's just because it was one of the first few worlds, maybe they didn't know about the anti-life equation at that point. They were just conquering worlds at that point. Because it definitely seems like a Darkseid wanted to, find that out eventually, but it definitely wasn't his first mandate.
Because they tried to take over Earth.
Yeah.
They lost that fight. They got kicked out. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming over time, millennia, blah, 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 the Earth's obviously going to change.
Yeah.
So they're not going to know exactly where it is, I guess.
Yeah.
And the music, too. I was like, there's certain times where the music kind of felt off-key.
Off-key,
but I'm just going to assume because this movie wasn't, made to perfection like how it could have been. So
and they just didn't have tracks for Flash and Aquaman, and it just seems like they went with the whole
music
let's get licensed music.
It's like, oh, this doesn't feel like the appropriate music for this scene right now, but
it didn't fit.
I wish there was a little bit more Superman in that movie, but it's arguably not a Superman movie until the end. Yeah,
the last two parts are definitely Superman oriented, but I really did like how Flash looks up to him. That was actually, again, erased from the Whedon version.
Yeah,
and it's just like having him as the character, like, oh, I look up to Superman. This is why I am, taking on the mantle of using my abilities for the best of the world. And it's like I liked
and just getting more context into who the Flash was and why, what's his journey.
Mm-hmm. And Cyborg. Cyborg is the heart of this film.
Cyborg was like, no, definitely the standing ovation in that. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that Ray Fisher didn't get the respect, or a lot of the characters, like Silas had a much bigger part to play in that.
Ryan Chow
had a bigger, like all these characters of color that had such big roles just got swatted away.
Yep.
And then Ray Fisher is getting blasted for that. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But you know what? Thank you, Ray Fisher, for doing your thing, and thank you, Zack, for showing the real side of Cyborg. Because in the initial one, I was kind of like, I don't know if I really like Cyborg in this. It seems very
rigid and just didn't care. It was too
especially coming off
boxed off.
Cyborg, from Teen Titans and in the comic books, and just seeing the kind of character he is, and then seeing how he is in this, and I get it. He is emotional about his state of being, but I don't know, it felt very unnecessarily out of place. But now seeing the pieces in place, and it's okay, I get why he feels the way he feels, but he still takes a turn, and his character arc makes a lot more sense.
They nailed it from that perspective. I still think Flash probably in the movie has the biggest moment in the entire film.
So many amazing moments. I mean, there's still times where I'm like, the only time I like the slow-mo was when he's doing that Superman thing where he's looking at him. That makes sense. Or when he's doing the whole touching the sword. But I feel like there's a lot of times where he's kind of just running in front of the camera, and it's like, why can't you just show his whole body book? He's clearly he's booking it. He's going fast. He's doing this. Just show those characters just across the board. They always feel like they need to have these
show the emotion,
slow-mo moments where I feel like they need to stop doing that when it comes to speedsters. 80% of the time, we should see them just whizzing across the screen. Yeah. And then when it's necessary, give us a couple seconds of slow-mo.
I thought there was two instances where it was pretty cool though, when he's running back in after saving the civilians. That scene was really cool. And then he comes back in and he sees Wonder Woman needing to grab the sword, and it just I felt like that moment was still more impactful, even though it mirrors what we saw in the Whedon version too. Yeah. But just seeing what he had to do prior to that. Before, in the Whedon version, he was just the scared, oh, I have powers, but I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And it's I felt like now this Flash...
He seemed a little more confident.
Yeah.
The only thing that was kind of holding him back was he didn't know how to go about, taking enemies down.
Yeah.
They show that he's still in training and he's still figuring his powers out. And I like it's established through the dialogue and through, just amazing acting, etc. Establishing the character. We don't need 7 Aquaman movie, a Batman movie, this, that to establish characters. Just take your time and do it through dialogue. Show us.
DC didn't need to mirror the whole Marvel strategy. Sure, there's some films that we would have liked to have solo films, but I just in this film itself, every Justice Leaguer has a character moment, and they have big integral things that actually impact the story. Like even instances where like Darkseid kind of just talk about him again, but like even having him put his hand on Superman's shoulder after having Lois dead.
Oh my gosh, the nightmare scenes, that's
like
all I wanted to see.
Sequences, man, like
the nightmare scenes is all I wanted to see. I wanted more of those. Like
Yeah.
obviously I wasn't expecting to get a lot, but like whenever they came up, I didn't want them to leave. Like whenever we seen a little clip of especially the epilogue where we get to see like Joker and Batman having their little tit for tat.
Yep. We
and
needed that.
And then we see everybody else kind of like throwing in their 2 cents just based on like what's happening in the world right now. It's like, oh my gosh, I wish we could have got like an extra half an hour of this nightmare.
That's what I mean.
I would have been down with
yeah,
it. Like if, I would have been down for an extra half an hour of just seeing this nightmare world. And if they are to make a movie, which probably not, what could we have expected? Because Snyder was saying how he wanted Batman to die, and then he wanted his Clark's son to become the new Batman. There was talks about that, and just like how they wanted to do this whole like nightmare thing similar to Injustice, but in Snyder's version of it. And like just hearing all of that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have been down for another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours getting that nightmare.
Yeah, and that's going to be
version.
a future film if they do actually restore the Snyderverse. And like, I feel like because he said like those were his plans for like a third film, like for Darkseid to come back and actually get the anti-life and wreak havoc on all the worlds and make everybody his guinea pig essentially. And it's like that story I really want to see on the big screen. Like obviously we have games like Injustice and all that stuff. Like seeing Joker and Batman in that sequence, all I could imagine is just like knowing that Lois is dead, Superman just kind of puts his hand right through and kills him. Like it's like those are the things I really want to see. It's like I don't want to see Superman be evil. I want to see Christopher Reeve.
It's like,
Superman.
why not?
It's like, no,
Why
man.
not?
I
I want to see this guy
version,
act like a real person. Like,
Yeah.
be who you could potentially be.
Yeah.
Show me why, it's scary for him to become that person.
Yeah.
Keep showing me like, I could be this person, but I'm trying not to be.
Yeah.
But he is definitely not incapable of being that person.
Yeah, definitely
He
isn't.
has all kinds of, reasons not to be.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we want to see that version. We don't want to see that.
And they still have Flash alive, and it's like it makes sense. Like in the previous nightmare sequences, we only seen like Batman, and it's like okay, like who's his tandem, who's with him? It's like if Flash sees everything go wrong, again he can utilize the Speed Force just like he did in this film to save the day, which was like again blew my mind. And it's like he's capable of doing these feats that none of the other leaguers are capable of doing. So it's like I love that. Zack Snyder was like, maybe if this is my only chance doing this, like the world has to see the
It would have been
power
nice
behind
to
Flash.
see that scene of Flash actually talking to Bruce and being like, I'm going to go in the past to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see it from the other side, but I guess obviously they didn't have the time, probably the time, the energy, the production money or anything like that to do it.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see it from the other side.
Probably happens like way down the line. I think when Flash does say that, Batman's already dead, because you see a sequence in the film where Superman's flying and he's actually holding Batman's cowl.
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
he's dead. Batman's probably dead
Yeah.
at this point. So that's probably when Flash is like, it's time to run back and turn back the clock. Every character was properly utilized.
Yeah.
Even Steppenwolf got more backing to a villain. It's like
was
you
so
cared
much
about
better.
him. It's
Like,
like he wants to get back in
and
the
he
good
looked
favor.
a lot cooler too.
Yeah,
He looked
oh,
a hell of a
goodness.
lot cooler. But like they added more detail and more context and more just like meaning to who he was and what he was trying to accomplish. He wasn't just being bad for the sake of being bad.
Which it was in the
Like,
Whedon version. I'm gonna collect Mother. What?
Yeah.
Shut up! Like, what are you talking about? Like in this film, it's like I want to just be back on Apocalypse. Okay, I just want to be back in Darkseid's good favor. I've been doing this for quite some time. Please. And then it's like I like that they're like, no, you have like 100,000 more worlds to collect. And as soon as he finds the anti-life, he's like, all right, if you can do it, maybe.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
know,
you're
Darkseid would still probably body him. Like he says these things just because he wants what he wants, right?
yeah.
And it's like that's the type of villains we want to see, man. Like at the end of the day, it's like I can't get over how much of a better film this is over.
And I hope
Whedon's.
Flashpoint Paradox takes notes. Whoever ends up handling it, take notes from this movie and thrust that into Flashpoint Paradox. As I want nothing but grit and grime and darkness in the Flashpoint You know, like if it's anything less than what we got in the animated version, I don't want to watch it. This is a future that I wouldn't wish on any of these characters.
Yeah, you
and when
don't
you
want to be
see
part
it
of that.
happen, you're just like, as much as terrible it is to watch, it's super interesting. So I hope they, you know, take that and escalate it even further in a live action sense. And they can't. Nobody can tell me that they can't do it.
Oh,
they can't.
It's definitely there. The capability, like you got the characters. I think people now definitely like Flash, Cyborg a lot more than before. So like knowing that these characters could actually like, you know, have their own solo films. Like I remember when Cyborg had a film that was actually slated, and then they took it off the slate.
Yeah.
I after watching this movie, I do think Cyborg could hold like his own film, and we'll see, right? I feel like Warner Brothers, you guys really need to consider like this universe needs to continue. Like after watching this film, you can't tell me like, all right, that was it, folks. It's like no, like
no, they can't do that. And then you're gonna show me Martian Manhunter.
Oh come on!
Oh my God! And
I lost it.
I was not expecting to. I don't know why I didn't expect to see him, because I guess I was crossing my fingers so much for Green Lantern. I still didn't get him.
Oh yeah, I know, me too.
Bootleg ass Green Lantern characters I didn't give a shit about. But like,
he got bodied by
and
Darkseid.
every single one just kept getting killed. I'm like, can you put some respect on these people, please? Like,
but the one line of respect was like, there's no lanterns, there's no protectors, no Kryptonians. So
yeah,
it's like,
we got bodied.
Yeah.
So we can't come back to Earth.
No.
We can't come back to Earth if all that smoke is gonna be there.
No, exactly.
We're trying to put up with that shit again.
Absolutely not. Which would have been nice, but I'm still glad, like, if they are going to handle Green Lantern, like, take your time. Like, you really want to establish a better attempt than Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern film.
It could have been anybody at that point.
But for me, it's just like, I like that they had that line in there because, again, Lanterns and Kryptonians are universal threats. Amazons and Atlanteans are an Earth threat. Like, they're not going to be across the galaxy like a Hawkman and all those different races in DC's lore. It's like, people know of them, okay? Like, they don't know about Wonder Woman, they don't know about Aquaman, they don't know about a Batman, but they are, again, in their own right, a very big threat too. But I'm just saying, like, it was just so nice to be like, we're hinting at Lanterns, they could be coming in this universe, just wait. And it's like, I like that. And this is the first time we have, like, honestly, like, two black characters, like, in the Justice League. It's like, Martian Man, you got Cyborg. Like, this is nuts. Like, it's Aquaman.
I lost it. I was like, no way they put Martian Manhunter in this movie.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
He looks amazing.
Yeah.
He looks way better than he looks in Supergirl. Like, that look is okay.
What
but
is that?
It's okay, but, like, no, his look in this movie was, oh my gosh.
I couldn't believe it. Like, it was just even how they did that scene, because they did a similar scene in the Whedon version, and then so you see that Martha Kent talking to Lois Lane. It's like coming out of the door and just seeing the red eyes. I can't even describe the feeling that washed over me. I was like, there's no
just like
way.
The sense of like
no,
overwhelming joy just took over.
Yeah, and it's like
that's all you need. Like that's literally all you need. Like you just give me a little something. That's all. That's all.
We're so simple. We're so simple as fans. We just want a little hint. You know what I mean? He didn't even need to do the end part sequence that he did at the end of the film, and he still did, because like that's Snyder's like gift to us as fans. It's like, no, like I cared about these characters. People trying to tell me like Snyder doesn't understand or interpret these characters. There's one thing I like about Snyder's universe over what everyone else is doing. It's the world view. Okay, all these characters have expectations, like the Batman worldview. What do people think about his character? What do people think about Superman across the globe? What do people think about Wonder Woman? It's like all these things are established in this universe, and I can't say other universes are doing that right now, because it feels like they kind of glance over that. It's like, oh, what does this government organization think about it? What is this? What is that? DC, like, and what Zack Snyder has done, let's just continue this, man. Like, I think there's definitely some serious potential for where these characters can potentially groom into. You know, it's not about, like, why isn't Superman like Christopher Reeves? It's about, like, seeing that Superman come into that type of Superman that we are you know, more accustomed to knowing. So I feel like people need to just be more patient and, like, wait for this universe to build.
Give people a chance, you know?
Yeah, give people a chance. But how many times, again, like, obviously we started the video with, like, how many times does it happen when an organization, a studio, or some type of instance in the development gets in the way of being like, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we make the movie
the integrity of
2
the
hours
entire
long?
Project? Yeah.
And again, this movie is a testament to, wow, just let these directors have their vision. Just let people create what they want to create. don't worry about the limitations behind the medium. Don't worry about it film being 3 hours and 30 minutes. If it's good, people will watch.
That's the end
of discussion. Like, that's it. But again, like overall, Justice League, what would you say, like as a film?
Ultimately, yeah. Like, I mean, I give that a solid 9 out of 10. Like,
yeah,
I give it a solid 9. You know, it gets bonus points for, you know, just kind of defeating the odds. You know, introducing all kinds of worlds and characters, and just like a plethora of Easter eggs, and just like taking, you know, that bad taste out of her mouth and giving us something that we've all desired and craved for, and you know, just not letting us down and proving the naysayers wrong. So he gets all the praise.
Yeah, I honestly, to echo your points, I give the movie about a 9.5. I don't think even the music things, like, it's not a glaring
I've
flaw.
always
like
appreciated anything that he's ever done. Like, I appreciate his vision. I always enjoy anything that he makes.
Yeah, and again, this is another nitpick, but just like, I would have liked a little bit more backstory, character moments with Aquaman. I felt like he's the only character that didn't benefit.
They kind of like glossed over him. They gave him a little scene with Willem Dafoe's character. I forget his name, Bruce Wayne. They probably thought that was enough to kind of establish what he's been up to, but I feel like that wasn't enough.
Him like actually accepting the mantle of being Aquaman, that happens in that film. So it's like, I get it. So that's why I don't like. I'm not mad about like, oh, why didn't Aquaman get a little bit more backstory, or just a little bit more character motivations, like just things like that. But like, again, like, I like that his character is more like, I'm only coming here because the world above is at threat, and it's like, maybe it is my time to the world itself, right? Like, he doesn't care about the world below yet, but like, he still cares
he's aware
enough.
Of the world below, and he still doesn't want that world to, like, he doesn't want any part of my world to get shattered. Yeah. Right? Because he still has people he cares about, like his dad and such.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what he's fighting for.
But it would
like, that's fair.
Still be nice to get a little more insight on his world. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I think that's my only thing. That's why I give it a 9.5. And again, that was Zack Snyder's Justice League Impressions review from Tim and Shamar. Let us know what you thought about the film in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you like it? Did you think it was just okay? Let us know down below. Like, comment, subscribe to Nerds on the Block. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Yo, you still here, dog? Yo, subscribe to the channel, bro. Make sure you hit that notification bell to stay locked on all of our content when it drops.
What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, bro.
But Seriously,
like, it's so easy, bro. Just click the button, bro.